guys, and welcome back to another Snobby Beer review. I'm X-Bang as always. We've got a very special beer. This is Curmudgeon's Better Half from Founders Brewing Company. This is an old ale brewed with molasses and aged in maple syrup bourbon barrels. So this is based off of the Curmudgeon, which is a seasonal release that Founders does. It's an old ale. And what they do is they age that in bourbon barrels that recently had maple syrup, sort of like the Canadian breakfast stout, but I say we see if it's worthy of all the hype. Alright, so the appearance, it's very deep red, sort of a little bit of orange coming through. It had a pretty decent sized head when first poured, and it's leaving really good lacing. The head's kind of a khaki color. It dissipated pretty quickly, and there's minimal carbonation coming up. Alright, so the aroma for the Curmudgeon's Better Half. Bourbon and sweet and maple syrup and all that just comes out right up front. I mean, it's very sweet smelling. The bourbon brings, a little bit of that like vanilla, those kind of flavors and aromas, I should say. But it also has like dark fruits, rum-soaked raisins, brown sugar. I mean, just all this stuff coming out like all at once. It's not quite as bourbon heavy as I expected, or even sort of, that maple syrup. It's there, but it's really not. So like the CBS, it's not like you can identify it as maple syrup, at least not in the aroma. Alright, as for the taste for Curmudgeon's Better Half, like the nose, tons and tons of sweetness up front. I mean, there's actually almost no bitterness in this whatsoever. Very malty. The maple syrup definitely comes out a lot more in the flavor than it does in the nose. It's got that bourbon character, which brings, vanilla, maybe a little bit of like a coconut or toasted coconut. That oakiness is in there too. But it's also got like just tons and tons of, dark fruits and plums, raisins, that kind of thing. I mean, this is a big beer. There's also some like molasses or brown sugar, coffee or toffee, I should say, caramel. I feel like the maple syrup would come out a lot more if it wasn't kind of like cut with that with the alcohol flavor. Alright, the mouthfeel in this one, as you would kind of expect, it's a big beer. It's definitely a sipper. Almost no carbonation whatsoever. It's pretty thick, and it has that kind of like sticky sweetness. Alright, so the score for the Curmudgeon's Better Half from Founders Brewing, available now, very limited release. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 on this one. And this is actually the first time, the first of the Backstage Series, or the 750 milliliter bottles from Founders that they released, that I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 to, which isn't to say this is a bad beer. 4 out of 5 is very good. This is an excellent beer, but the thing that kind of is keeping it from, being a perfect, 5 out of 5 beer, it's that alcohol. I mean, it's very strong. I think after, 6 months or a year, this beer is going to be absolutely amazing. But right now, being so fresh, it's a little hot. If you do have a bottle, I would recommend sitting on it for a few months, if you can. But that wraps it up for the Curmudgeon's Better Half. I enjoyed this out of my Founders Brewing Company snifter. And I got this at Fish Street Wine and Deli in Dayton, Ohio. It was like $3. It was an absolute steal. So if you go there, if you're in Dayton, check it out. It's a great little place. It's in the Oregon District. And I also want to say shout out to Michael Hare for hooking me up with 2 bottles of this beer. We did a little trade. But Curmudgeon's better half. Really good beer. Like I said, give it a little bit of time. This ending is going on a little bit long, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. You guys know what to do. Grab a beer, leave me a comment, and cheers.